welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. Today we will dive into the magical world of Disney's The Little Mermaid, which was made in 1989, and the screen cap study that I'm going to recreate is Ariel perched on a rock after saving Prince Eric, leaving him on the shore, and singing the reprise of Part of Your World. And as she is watching Eric disappear, she is gazing out at the sea. So I first sketched the drawing with a 0.5 mechanical pencil and did the black outline with my Sakura Pigma Micron fine liners and my black fine tip point Sharpies. The reason why I didn't film that process is because I didn't want to bore you with the sketching and outlining process, as it requires a lot of concentration. As I colored in the scene, I used different art mediums such as markers, Crayola super tips, my colored Sharpies, my Sharpie acrylic markers, my Poscas, and my Prismacolor Premier markers, as well as my Copic markers. For watercolors, I didn't really use much. I just used my Arteza Real Watercolor brush pens, and I also used my Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. I used these mediums to help me achieve a vibrant and detailed look, and also with the goal of wanting to create texture in my drawing. My goal was to make sure this scene looked like the final animation. So Ariel has had many actresses play her, the first being Jodie Benson, then Auli'i Cravalho, to Halle Bailey. In the live-action movie of The Little Mermaid, you can see Jodie Benson playing a saleswoman, and Halle Bailey herself has even said in an article, quote, "She told me how proud she was of me and how I'm handling everything, and encouraged me to just go for it," end quote. While filming the new movie, Benson has been giving Halle Bailey advice as to how to play and embody Ariel. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, The Little Mermaid was the movie that kicked off Disney's Renaissance era. From 1989 to 1999, Disney came out with movies like The Little Mermaid in '89, of course, The Rescuers Down Under in 1990, Beauty and the Beast in 1991, Aladdin in 1992, The Lion King in 1994, Pocahontas in 1995, The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1996, Hercules in 1997, Mulan in 1998, and Tarzan in 1999. The films were mostly musical adaptations of well-known stories, similar to the films produced by Walt Disney from the 1930s to the 1960s. And the resurgence allowed Disney's animated films to become a powerhouse of successes at the domestic and foreign box office, earning them much greater profits. So for some of the elements in this drawing, like the ocean and the sky, for the ocean surface, I used a blend of my blue watercolors from Arteza, then added my white Posca, as well as my white acrylic white Sharpie to create the sea foam. For Ariel's hair, I used a bold red marker from Prismacolor Premier to make it stand out. And to give her hair texture and dimension, I used a red color pencil from Prismacolor Premier to create highlights as well as add texture to the hair. And like I said on the waves, to replicate the sea foam, I used a white marker. For the clouds, I used, for the clouds actually, I left them as is, but then used my gray acrylic marker from Sharpie to create shadows and to also make them look 3D. I wanted the clouds to look like they're super fluffy. And also, as I was doing this drawing, I was drawing and thinking in 3 dimensions. The reason why I did this is because Mark Hen, who was one of the animators in The Little Mermaid and actually animated Ariel, when he draws, actually draws and thinks in 3 dimensions. So when he's drawing a head, he's not thinking like a flat circle like a dinner plate, he's thinking more of a ball. And that's really what I kept in mind as I was doing this drawing, thinking and drawing in 3 dimensions. Not making it look like it is actually 2D, but at the same time thinking, oh, her eye goes here, this is where her chin is. I was literally putting myself in Mark Hen's shoes, thinking to myself, how would he animate it? So, yeah. Mark Hen is actually one of my favorite Disney animators that I look up to. I absolutely love his work, and like I said in my Beauty and the Beast screencap video, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. He's actually dubbed the princess guy at the studio, at Walt Disney Animation Studios, because his first Disney princess was actually Ariel. He then went on to animate Belle for Beauty and the Beast. He went on to animate Jasmine and who else? Mulan, Tiana, all of the Disney princesses that we know and love. Mark Hen also not only worked on the Disney princess films, but he also worked on other Disney films. His first assignment was actually Mickey Mouse from Mickey's Christmas Carol. He went on to animate Cats and Dogs in the movie Oliver and Company. He did the bear fight sequence in The Fox and the Hound. And then from there, he animated young Simba in The Lion King. And he even animated, of course, the Disney princesses that I just mentioned. I absolutely loved the way this drawing came out. I was really, really proud of it. And I think that my favorite thing in the drawing would probably have to be that I used different mediums, and that I also wanted to go a little bit outside my comfort zone, from adding texture and dimension to shading. I am so excited for the next video that I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna give you guys a lot of details, but let's just say it's gonna be a good one. As you can see, I'm coloring Ariel's hair, and like I said, I used my red Prismacolor Premier alcohol marker, and then later on I used my red Prismacolor Premier colored pencil to give it a little bit more oomph, that little factor, that wow factor that I was looking for. For the elements that were colored in colored pencils, particularly the sky, I used the side of the pencils to help create texture and dimension. And believe it or not, when I was using my colored pencils, I didn't have to sharpen them at all, since I had a pencil sharpener that sharpens your pencils to a long point, and you don't have to go back and sharpen your pencil every 5 seconds. So that to me was pretty helpful. I think I only used colored pencils in 2 areas in this drawing. I used them, of course, for Ariel's hair, and of course to fill in the sky. Now, as you guys can see me right here, I'm actually using a gray acrylic marker from Sharpie to color the rock that Ariel is perched on. Now, originally I was going to do the rock in watercolor, I believe, but then I thought to myself that if I used acrylic marker, it could help me at that rocky texture and effect that I was going for. So I love that I was able to re-strategize and rethink as I was doing the whole drawing, because originally I was gonna go all out. I was gonna whip out every single marker that I had, every single watercolor that I had. But then I realized it was gonna be a lot of work. And so, as the saying goes, less is more. So, yeah. I used little materials, but at the end of the day, the drawing came out really beautiful. Now you also see that I have blue tape on my paper. And the reason why I have it is because since I was using water-based products, I didn't want the paper to warp and look kind of funky. And the tape actually helps the paper stay in place and prevent the paper from warping. Now, of course, so as to not ruin the drawing and eventually rip the paper, I did use, I put the tape on my arm first to remove some of the tackiness, and then I just put the tape on the paper. The reason I put the tape on my arm is to, one, remove some of the tackiness of the tape, and to also make it easy to remove it once I was done. And one thing that I really like about having tape on your drawing is that when you take it off, one, it's very satisfying, and two, it kind of leaves this like picture frame. So I thought that was really, really nice. Now, Ariel is one of those Disney princesses that a lot of little girls can relate. She is curious, and she's adventurous, and she's also very determined. I love Ariel's curiosity and fascination with the human world, and I also love that in the live action movie, Halle Bailey not only made history by being the first black actress to play a Disney princess, but to also show that black girls can do anything. Now, a lot of Disney movies from the 90s, like Aladdin and The Lion King, have had their own live-action adaptations. But you also have movies that weren't made in the 90s, but have also had their live-action adaptation, such as Sleeping Beauty, which was eventually named Maleficent. You also have Pinocchio, you have Cruella, and you also have 101 Dalmatians. You have Cinderella, of course. All of those movies have had their live-action adaptations, and I really like that Disney was going outside the box and really like creating live-action adaptations for those movies. Now, obviously, of course, a lot of movies still need that little live-action treatment, but we can only ask for so much. Now, as you can see, I am now coloring in the ocean. And one thing that I did with my Arteza markers is that I actually wet the brush tip first before going into the paper. And the reason why I did that is because it added more blue hues to the ocean, and it also made it look like really nice, I think. So that's another helpful tip. If you have watercolor markers and you want the intensity to not be super punchy, you can just wet them and it's like you have watercolor right there. Now, a lot of the materials that I used in this video, I got them on Amazon and bought with my own money, or I either got them as birthday gifts. But yeah, a lot of these products, you guys, I actually got on Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, of course, and Amazon. So you can find a lot of these products online as well, but they're more common in store. My favorite part of this drawing would probably have to be the ocean, because I came up with that really cool idea of wetting my marker to give me more blue tones and not just one tone. So I was happy that I was able to re-strategize and rethink the process. Now again, with features such as the rock and the ocean and the sand and the clouds. I was thinking and drawing in 3 dimensions. Now, is it harder to think in 3 dimensions when you're drawing 2D? Yes, yes it is. Because even though you're doing 2D and you're thinking 3D, it's kind of like your brain is going on a roller coaster and saying, wait, we're doing 2D, why are we thinking in 3D? Well, the reason why you want to think 3D when doing a drawing is because even though it might look like one thing, it has to be like another. I know that's probably a little confusing, but that's what an artist does. An artist always goes outside the box, and you always have to be willing to go outside your comfort zone. Now we're finally getting down into the final parts of this drawing, which is the sky, adding the sea foam, and the shading of the clouds. For the sky, I used a blue colored pencil from Prismacolor Premiere, and I used the side of it to color in the sky. Now, as you guys can see, the point of my colored pencil is really long. And like I said, I actually have a pencil sharpener that sharpens your pencils to a long point. And so even though I used like half of the point of my colored pencil, I didn't have to resharpen it as it was pretty long and it lasted me for the whole thing. I love using colored pencils because they're so versatile and you can do a lot of things with colored pencils like a graphite pencil. So I love that versatility aspect of them, and I like that you can use colored pencils in so many different ways. Now, I do just want to point out that most of the time when I'm doing these drawings, I'm either listening to music, listening to a podcast. In this case, I wasn't listening to anything, but sometimes I like to have a little something while I'm working on a drawing for a video. Even though this drawing was done in real time, I do feel like I was going at my own pace, and that's really, really important. Like, when you're doing a drawing, rule number 1, you do not want to rush it. You have to let time fly, and even if it takes you a day, 2 weeks, a whole hour, you still have to be pretty patient, not only with yourself, but with the process. That's one thing that a lot of artists do. They take their time and really just letting the drawing guide them. You don't want to rush into it. You want to let the process just go by at its own pace, and you don't want to rush. Another thing that I struggled while doing this video was actually my lighting. Even though my desk lamp did help give me a lot of light, I ended up also using the flashlight on my phone to give me a little bit more brightness. And I think in the end, it helped me in the end. My favorite thing about coloring in the sky with my colored pencil was that I was able to outline the character itself, aka Ariel. Since Ariel was really the focal point of this drawing, I wanted the colored pencil to really help me with this. Now, the reason why I didn't use marker for the sky was because I didn't want to waste any marker by coloring the sky, because I felt that by using marker to color the sky, I was going to take forever and the process was going to be very time consuming, and this video was going to be a lot longer than it already is. So that's why I used colored pencils to help me not only speed up the process, but to also, again, with the goal of wanting to create texture and dimension in the drawing. So that's why I went with colored pencils. I love the fact that I was able to go outside of my comfort zone and think outside the box when doing this drawing. And I don't do that very often, but when I do it, it is a lot of fun. One helpful tip though, if you are going to be using colored pencils, is that when you're shading in some stuff, use the side of your pencil, because if you use the tip, it's going to break and it's going to come out a lot darker than you want it to. So now I'm going over Ariel's hair on some parts with a red colored pencil. Not putting too much pressure on the pencil, but again, just using a little bit of pressure. As we're getting down to the final bits of the video, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe, of course, ding the bell so you don't miss more fun videos like this one. Be nice in the comment section, and also hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video, and yeah, that's really it. Also, in the comment section, remember, if you are going to comment in the comment section, please be nice. Everyone has feelings, and just because someone reads something in the comment section does not mean that they are made of stone. Remember that there's always someone on the other side reading that comment, so please be nice. Also, in the comment section, comment down below what other screen cap from what movie or what show you would like to see me do next. Just know that the next video, oh wow, I am so excited for it, you guys. I am not even kidding. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. As you guys can see, I am shading in the clouds a little bit with a gray marker from Sharpie, and just like going over it really nice and light. I'm only doing it on the round bits, on some of the round bits, not all of them. And this just helps create shade and dimension. Now, I didn't film the end process of this video, but I did end up taking the tape off and signing it. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And, oh, dropped the camera there, but I was able to pick it up in the end. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.